Hello, people of the internet. This is Kaiji Noir,
And it's Pete.
and here we are with our review for Frozen, the latest Disney animated film. The last one, of course, was Wreck-It Ralph. But unlike Wreck-It Ralph, which was a very modern take for a Disney animated film, this one, Frozen, goes back to its roots and adapts a fairy tale and gives it that classic Disney musical treatment.
Sort of like Tangled.
Right.
In that sense.
Yeah, it's pretty much the Tangled of 2013. In fact, even their titles are very similar. Where instead of saying like giving it the title like before we had The Little Mermaid, Sleeping Beauty, or Snow White, where they're named after the princesses, here it seems like they're trying to appeal to a broader audience by giving it a very gender neutral title: Tangled, Frozen. So I guess they're trying to go in sort of like an adjective.
Yeah, they're trying to be a little more vague.
Yeah, right. But yeah, this is actually a fairy tale based on The Ice Queen, I believe that's what it's called. I feel like it's this is a really good and I believe very fresh take on the genre. The cool thing about Disney films is that a lot of them are very timeless. That a movie from the 30s, you can fry, which in the case of Snow White, you can show to someone who grew up in the 40s, someone who grew up in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and the teens now.
It's happening now.
It's happening now. It happened to our parents, it happened to our grandparents, it happened to us, and it'll hopefully happen to the next generation. And so, let me ask you, does Frozen live up to that legacy?
I think it does. It does. I don't think it lives up to it's like the golden age of Disney, but I think this is like it's own separate little category. That's how I feel about it. How about you?
I believe so. I feel like this is definitely a worthy addition to that Disney series of high quality animated films. This definitely had the talent, the budget, the production values, and it really definitely has a lot of the similarities to the classic Disney films that we know of. So with Frozen, it's the story of two sisters, Anna and Elsa. They're both princesses who come from a royal family in this fictional fairy tale like kingdom. The movie starts off with them as little kids playing around, and you quickly learn that Elsa was born with the ability to create ice. So basically, she's an X-Men. Disney introduced mutants into the Disney franchise.
Disney, since now they own they own Marvel. They feel the need. They can now put in their own mutant, like you said. So I'm pretty sure we can expect to see the Snow Queen in the next X-Men movie, Days of Future Past.
Oh, of course, yeah. Totally, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the science is sound. As little kids, Elsa accidentally injures Anna. And so the parents have decided to come to the conclusion to hide the fact that Elsa has powers and take away all of Anna's memories of her ever having powers, but still remembering that joy that they had playing together as kids. So we go through a montage where Elsa, she's pretty much shunned herself from the world, trying to control her powers, but they grow more and more out of control. And it gets to a point where she feels like she can no longer live among regular people without hurting them. And so she makes herself an outcast and creates her own little castle up in the mountains, but she unleashes her power so much that she accidentally causes an everlasting winter. So now Anna, along with her new friend Kristoff, they must go and help convince Elsa to end the winter, and at the same time establishing her bond with Elsa. And along the way, you have a big cast of characters, one of which being a snowman by the name of Olaf. Now, I have never read the story that this movie was based off of. I called it the Ice Queen before, but it's really called the Snow Queen. And I just wondering, did you ever heard of this story?
I've never heard of this story myself. I've read fairy tales read fairy tales when I was a kid, but I've never heard of the Snow Queen myself before.
what were your thoughts going into the movie? Did you see any of the advertisement for this?
We talked about this before. The only advertisement I ever saw was in the theater, and it was that little short of the reindeer and the snowman Olaf, in competition to either the reindeer eating his nose or Olaf getting his nose back. That's all we ever really heard of the movie or saw the movie. We never saw the cast, or not the cast, but we never saw the main characters or the girls. And since I no longer watch TV as much as I used to, I never saw ads on TV. I didn't really even see the poster for the movie myself.
I did see. I was there with you when we saw that initial teaser trailer. I think Disney may have done that before, where they would have. Oh, I know definitely Pixar does that all the time, where they would have a teaser with footage that's never in the movie, just like a quick introduction to the tone of the film.
That is true. However, with the Pixar movies, they really got you hyped. They really got you excited. I didn't get that from this. I really didn't. I was like, oh, look, it's a Disney movie.
I really liked it. I thought it was very charming. It could work as its own little shorts, because Disney has been doing animated shorts forever now. In fact, we'll get to that at the end of this review. But I did saw the advertisements. I saw the commercials for this film, and they did not represent this movie at all, really. I mean, it made this movie feel like not Pixar. The ads made this movie feel like a DreamWorks movie, where it's very pop heavy, more trying to act all cool, edgy, and hip. They don't bring up the fact that they don't bring up any of the drama in this film. They just play up the snowman, really. The snowman and his wacky hijinks, and the reindeer, pretty much. Yeah, they bring up the Disney sidekicks, as I guess you can call them, because it's usually this tradition where you would have one or two wacky, cartoony sidekicks that join the protagonist. But I was honestly surprised with this. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to be surprised by this movie. They're probably coming in thinking that it's a comedy, and they have no idea that it's a musical. And yeah, it feels like it's been a while since we had an animated musical. I mean, I don't think we've had one, possibly since Tangled.
That might be true. Disney-wise, yeah, I can't imagine DreamWorks has done anything even close to that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right on the spot with that one.
Yeah. So what were your thoughts on the story?
I'll tell you right this, going into it, I was nervous. I didn't know what I was going in for, because, I guess unlike you, I didn't really get to see that. You say you saw commercials, right, or trailers for it?
Yeah, I saw trailers, yeah.
I didn't get to see that, but as the movie started, I was afraid it was going to go for too much of a cute aspect. Like, I'm cute, look at me, let's, showing off how cute the girls are. Mm. But surprisingly, while it might have started out like that, it really grew into, this actually cool story of, of a girl who's she's basically told by her parents that she can't be, she has to learn to control these things, and that she's not normal, and that she can't leave until she basically it's not that they're villains, they care for their daughter.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they basically made her feel so bad about what she is and who she is, not purposely, but she's so scared of what she can do. And there's a scene later on in the movie where she's finally free, because everybody knows, and you really feel like the power that she has. She's free.
Yeah, you completely feel where Elsa is coming from. You feel all her emotions every step of the way, and I'm glad that because she has these powers, she's never a full-on antagonist to the film. In fact, there are antagonists in the film, but they're not really the focal point, really. It's not like Maleficent, where you have, as great as a villain she is, there's not this big, obvious, look at me, I'm the villain person.
And I love that.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. And more than anything, the antagonist is not really the townspeople, but the prejudice and the how scared she becomes.
And even then, the townspeople are never they're not quick to antagonize their princess. They're just scared and confused. It's very kind of feels very realistic reaction to seeing someone with powers.
It's not just some angry mob going, we're gonna kill her because she's a mutant. Mutants are
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, kill the monster and just chase her into a windmill and set it on fire.
Yeah, I mean, that's not it at all. Like I said, I didn't know what this movie was going for. So, you know, just feeling that, it was really strong. And then you have Anna.
Yes, yeah.
You know, well, I'll let you talk about Anna.
Okay, well, she's a very energetic, very spunky. She's a person who's lived in a very closed environment all her life, and she just desperately wants to go out there and see, you know, interact with people out there, which is a very like which contrasts very well to Elsa, who she wants to do it, but she's afraid of, you know, other people's lives, so she does not want to. She wants to continue to isolate herself. I feel like they did lay it on a little too thick. Anna never gets to the point where she's annoying. I mean, she really grows and develops as a character. I mean, it does make sense that she would be so hyper and being like so super excited to finally be interacting with other people to the point where you kind of tend to question her mistakes. But again, like, you know, when she's out on her on the hero's quest to find her sister, she really does come into being her own character.
Yeah, and again, going back to, you know, like how she reacts to finally going inside. The thing is, she doesn't know why she's stuck there, why she's imprisoned in her own castle. Because it's not just Elsa who's imprisoned. Anna's in prison too. I mean, they're not imprisoned, you know.
Right. Because in the film, in order to protect their daughters from the outside world, the king and queen decide to keep them in their castle, but until Elsa can control her powers. And unfortunately, like most Disney parents, they die rather pretty surprisingly very cruelly on screen.
Not surprised. Disney on a boat. You're dead.
Yeah. If you're going away on a trip, whether it's like by airplane,
trip.
yeah, on the trip, you're going to die.
It's a widely known fact.
Right. Oh, by the way, Pete, I'm gonna be going off to the bathroom. Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay, expect to see you in the next never. Now, this is like a tiny quirk that like always ran through my head, but considering how sheltered they were and how they were like sheltered for like so many years, on this crazy quest, I question how Anna manages to survive everything she goes through. Literally everything she goes through. I don't know how she became so strong, so, you know, strong-willed, so like, you know, learning, like, just picking up on everything so quickly.
Yeah.
And it's Disney, so I'm not gonna question it too much. But still, it's something that always made me like think,
What were your thoughts on the rest of the cast, namely Kristoff, Olaf, and the reindeer Sven?
I like the side characters. I really did. I mean, okay, so you have Kristoff, you have Hans, the handsome prince,
Yeah.
and like you said, you have Olaf. So I mean, first we're introduced to Hans. And he seems like a likable character. I mean, he seems like that typical Disney prince. Like, you know, like, oh, let's have a musical. Let's fall in love.
Let's sing about how much in love we are.
And it's funny because, you know, even Anna mentions, you know, I want to fall in love on the first day. And she, quote unquote, falls in love.
Yeah, I feel like they were really, Disney was really satirizing that whole aspect of we fall in love, let's get married as soon as we can.
And I liked it. Well, initially, I'm not gonna lie. Initially, I was actually worried that, you know, something like that might happen.
Yeah.
And later on, you know, some changes happened. That new characters are brought in. So I'm glad the step that Disney decided to take was great. I really enjoyed it.